Drums, please.
Hey everybody, C.Note here, and welcome to DOPEamine, the show that is all about mental health empowerment. On the show, we talk mostly to INTPs about their growth in productivity, careers, relationships, health, all of that good stuff. Today, I want to talk to you about a couple of tips that I want to give you around how to become a more productive INTP. Now, productivity is one of those challenges that INTPs face throughout our lives, throughout our careers, and we're often fighting the expectations of the external world in terms of what it means to be productive. Most of the INTPs that I've polled around productivity has said that productivity equals output. And one of the first things I want to mention is that productivity isn't necessarily always just output. Output is a part of it, it's the end of it. But your thinking, and this is basically the first tip, is that your thinking is a major element of productivity. So working through the project, working through ideas and starting the ideas is an important part of that. Now, I have a video called How to Start as an INTP, How to Start a Project, and that covers a baking metaphor that all of the ingredients are your thoughts. You collect different ingredients from different places, you put them into an idea pie, you put the pie in the oven, and then through experience you learn what the timing and temperature is based on your oven, based on your situation, and then you learn how to take the pie out of the oven. And productivity is essentially learning to take, productivity is learning that entire process, acknowledging that your thinking is part of productivity. So for you, putting the pie in the oven is also part of the productivity and letting the idea bake. But you have to find that window of time when it's appropriate to take the pie out of the oven. You underbake it and it's an under-quality idea. You overbake it and it's burnt, also an under-quality idea. You leave it in the oven and there's no room for other pies in the oven. You have to take it out at the right time so other people can eat it, they can enjoy it, or you save it for later, or you put it, by putting in your notes app, or you produce it on a video or something like that, right? You put things out there. And by putting things out there, you're allowing for the opportunity for new ideas to come in. You get into this sort of thinking wheel of reciprocity between yourself and the outside world. So one of the first things is to basically accept and acknowledge that your thinking is part of the process. It is a pivotal part of the process. So you have to do ideation and be able to get support from other people to do brainstorming and to figure out, use that intuition, because it's extroverted intuition. So get ideas from other people and outside sources to be able to add to your thinking, to be a part of the project. So I think it's important to accept that as part of your process, because being productive means getting a better handle on the process of thinking. Because sometimes we get wrapped up in the guilt around thinking. The guilt that our thinking is taking too much time, our thinking is like a waste of time in other people's perception, or that we're just running in circles or we're getting distracted too much or anything like that. All of that lends to the inefficient use of our thinking. So improving our ability to think, put the ingredients together, create an idea, put it in the oven, learn the timing, learn when to take it out of the oven and where to share it, who's going to come over for the party, is an important part of that entire process. So continuing to listen to your thinking and improve how your thinking is a part of the process is incredibly important as well. So I want to stop real quick, and if you have watched a couple of videos so far, hit like and subscribe below, share this video with a friend if this is something that's resonating with you, or someone, in a safe space somewhere on the internet, other INTP groups, Reddit, anywhere where you think this is going to be relevant and important. I think this is going to be some powerful stuff for you as an INTP. So the next one is that to get into action, the second that a vision comes to mind. So INTPs, we like to be ready. We like to work out all of the details of, what something's going to be, what it's going to feel like, what it's going to look like. And sometimes we can overanalyze like the perfection element because we want to make something of quality, right? We want to make a good product. But there is an element that if you have this full vision of something, And my hand signals are like all over the place today. I'm overdoing it. That was FE feedback from the screen. Just noticing like, oh God, that's a lot. All right. So the second that something clicks, that you get this vision of what something is or could be, that's the time to act. That means that's the time to externalize. Take notes, write it down, draw images of what that vision's going to look like, or get started on the project. That's your time to take the ball and run, because otherwise someone else is going to take the ball. What that really means is that the vision in your mind is going to dissipate. That if you don't do something with it, your brain is going to assume that you've satisfied that, and you're going to move on to the next thing. It's the equivalent of taking the pie out of the oven and leaving it on the counter and not doing anything with it. You don't put it in the fridge, you don't wrap it up, you don't serve it to people, you don't eat it yourself, you just leave it on the counter. Not even the rats come and eat it. It just rots. It just dissipates. And for you to not do something with your idea is a shame. No one gets to eat that pie. That's a waste. So for you as an INTP, when something clicks, when it's time for that feeling of like, all right, I have enough to get going, that's the time to drop your pencils and pick up your pens and get going and start doing the thing you want to do. Now, the third thing would be that sometimes you have to start when you're not ready. So there are going to be moments when things do click, and that's probably going to be less often than when they don't click. So you're going to not be ready more than you're going to be ready. There's almost a reconciliation you have to make with that feeling, because that's just what's going to happen. And the part of the struggle of that is that we get so in love with that feeling of click, because when something clicks, it's great, especially when you can click and you're able to produce that thing in like such a perfect way that it comes out in this like beautiful vision of exactly what you pictured. That's an addicting feeling, and you want that every time. Challenge is, that's not going to happen every time. So for you to be a more productive person means that you're going to have to start when you're not ready to start. So the part of that that's wonderful is that starting when you're not ready is an engagement of your learning styles. It's you're getting ready to go based on what you know. And once you get going, new ideas will emerge, especially when you start sharing some of your ideas with other people. You get some feedback and you start to learn like, this works, this doesn't work, this is an interesting idea, let's play with this. And being able to take that and just go will allow the initial vision to expand to a greater vision. Because us as INTPs, we're calibrators. We are at our best when we are looking for inconsistencies and being able to parse something and filter something out to be able to notice, what needs correcting and changing and developing. And if there's nothing to grow and develop, then we're not engaging our mind in the way that we would like to. So you need something to work with. So you need to start. So by starting, it's just a matter of doing, just getting into motion. It doesn't matter what it is. It just means writing something down, starting to take notes, starting to talk to someone about the project, doing a little bit of research, collecting files, starting the file tree or something like that. Or if you got paints, just collect everything. Just do something, do anything, even if you don't know what the vision is yet. You don't need to know what the end is to go to the beginning, right? So to start, basically. So if you don't have your vision in place, just start, just go. That's really is just the thing. Just go, just get it done. So the next thing, I have it in my notes here. That's why I'm like kind of taking a minute to stop. The next thing in support of starting is that you need to use templates sometimes, and that's okay. As INTPs, we feel like we need to reinvent the wheel sometimes. We feel like we need to have this feeling of figuring something out. When you don't get bonus points for figuring something out yourself that has already been figured out. There's no external points for that. You may feel good. You may get a hit of feeling like I'm 32 and I finally learned how to tie my shoes because I figured it out myself. That's weird. You don't get bonus points for that. So when you're starting a project, if you're trying to start a YouTube channel, look for templates for thumbnails. Look for other videos and how people have produced. Look for what has worked in the past. Look for something that's been consistent in someone's videos and take that and apply it to what you're doing. If you're a graphic designer and you need to create t-shirts or create a mock-up of a t-shirt, go find templates and start with that. And it doesn't mean that you can't dissect it and learn from it. That's the point. You find a template, you dissect it, you change it, you evolve it, you grow it, and you build from there. So the same thing as, like I said about starting, is that as calibrators, we want to be able to fine tune something, to be able to solve problems, to be able to filter and look for inconsistencies. If we find templates, then we can evolve those templates. So we don't have to start from scratch every time. And it's totally valid to be able to do that. You're not being any less of an artist. You're not being any less of a creator. You're not being any less of a person, or it's not going to make you any less intelligent to use templates and to create templates for yourself as you go along. You know, for me with these YouTube videos, I have thumbnails that I do, and they basically are the same every time. They evolve as they go. If I feel like something needs to shift and change a little bit, it will, and that's fine. I give myself permission to do that. And then the last thing I want to cover is to schedule deadlines for yourself with someone you trust and care about, but don't schedule tasks. So let's start with the early part there, is schedule deadlines with someone you care about. Because again, our external accountability system is about people. It's extroverted feeling. So, and because our sphere of who we care about and trust is small, we need to inform that person that we care about that we're doing something, and they need to hold us accountable, because it's that fear of disappointment that is going to drive us to get the thing done when we need to get it done. That's going to be so valuable for you as an INTP. So make sure that you're checking in with someone, or they're checking in with you as to, you know, the length of this project, or, you know, making sure that you hit the deadline. And what I mean by not scheduling tasks is that we like to be in charge of our own time as an INTP. We love to know that we have the time to do what we need to do, or to respond to impulses and be distracted when we need to be distracted. And as long as we have a deadline, we need to honor that deadline. But any other time in between, we can do whatever you want. As long as you know how long it's going to take to get the thing done, which is part of practicing and growing as a person, then you can take that and run with it. So as an INTP, making sure to test your competencies and what you're doing allows you to be able to get a sense of how to schedule your own tasks in your mind, because we keep track of those things in our head, and the external accountability just comes with the deadline. All the other stuff you manage yourself, but the stuff you manage with external people, you do that externally. So that's it. So as an INTP, I support INTPs with productive growth. So I have what's called the INTP Productivity Workshop. You can sign up in the link below to go check out if that's available. The doors open around the middle of the month, and then the workshop is at the end of every month. So look for that, see if that's available and open to you. Otherwise, go to DOPEamine.life, check out the podcast, and check out our resources, articles, all of that stuff. And if you have questions about these topics or further INTP growth, go ahead and leave a comment below. And that's it. So I appreciate you. Take care of yourselves and each other. I've been C.Note, and I'll catch you next time on DOPEamine. See ya.